Welcome to the How to Become a Professional Actor podcast with Jade Hassouné, the place where we explore the practical steps and the mindset required to launch and build a successful acting career. Whether you're just starting out and have never done this before, but you dream of doing it big, or if you want to take your acting career to the next level, this place is for you. So let's get going. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited that you're here. Like, I can't even describe my excitement. I've been wanting to do this for years now, and I've done a few podcasts in the past, but it hadn't nothing to do with how to become an actor, which is the name of this podcast, but had to do more with, me as an artist, especially with music and everything. And I think it's time to share what I've learned over the last 15 years of being a professional actor, like literally being paid to do what I love, which is the goal here, right? So my intention for this podcast is to take you by the hand, be your acting BFF bestie, and to develop the mindset that is needed to succeed in this crazy industry. And I will tell you now, 90% of this career is the mindset part, okay? So the mindset part, there's tons of information about how to do it. But when you actually apply these tips, tricks, tools that have to do with so much that people talk about, like I'm obsessed with manifestation, but manifestation nowadays is really neuroscience. Like, how do you reprogram your mind to believe in your goals and your dreams, and so that you can transform your life? So I'm just going to be talking to you as a friend and as a guide, I guess. We're going to keep this real casual, and we're going to keep this under 30 minutes. That's my goal. Some episodes will be an hour long because I've got like guest mentors that I want to share with you. Past interviews I've done with some amazing people, super successful actors, and we're going to get going. So today's episode is called, Is It Possible? Is it possible? The short answer is yes, 100% possible. And I will tell you so many stories in this podcast as to how I went from literally being someone who had no avenues to make this possible for me into manifesting, creating, attracting the opportunities that literally got me to now tour the world, meeting the fans of a TV series called Shadowhunters, a Netflix show, which is also a Disney show for you guys in the US. That's allowed us to travel the entire world, meeting the fans of this show. Like, I just got back from Paris, where there were hundreds of fans, and spent a whole weekend signing autographs, taking photos, meeting the people that were inspired by the TV show, which was a dream that I had when I was very young. And I always knew that I would get to that point. So let's get right into it. All right. So today what we're going to talk about is like the doubts, right? Why do we think this is an unachievable dream that is meant for other people? For people that are in Hollywood, for people that have access to this type of opportunity. Well, nothing in life that is worth doing is like super easy to get, right? Like, especially something so unachievable, quote unquote, that seems so fun and that brings a lot of rewards, because when this is working, it is working. I can tell you, the money flows, the opportunities, the life that you dream of, like literally becomes possible and comes to you, and you experience all these amazing things. That's the result of so many different actions, thoughts, consistency that you put into your dream. Okay. So, the thing that prevents us from achieving those things is those doubts. You'll hear it talked about in so many different ways: limiting beliefs, um, fears, things like that. Okay. And I'll tell you right now, no matter what age you are at this point listening to me, it does not matter. Okay. You could be super young, which is great, because if you're young and you start off, it's great because you have more time to develop that mindset, to develop that identity as a working actor. But if you are later in life, or literally had a whole career ahead of you, but before, sorry, if you had a whole career before and you want to shift, it is possible. Age is not something that will stop you. And I'll give you a little homework already. If you feel like that's one of your limiting beliefs, like, oh, it's too late for me, because we have been programmed to believe that, to become successful, you have to start off real young and then have success real young. And if you haven't done that before the age of 20, then it's too late and it's too bad. But that is not true. So the homework I'm going to give you is to go to ChatGPT or Google or anything, and you ask, give me a list of 30 super famous, super successful actors that have started later in their career. And you will be shocked to see that so many of the big stars, the big Hollywood stars that we know, either had a whole career before, had a whole life before, and sort of discovered that that's what they wanted to do and put in the work, obviously, and took the actions required to get to that point where now they are someone that we know as a successful actor, but they weren't always that way. So that's a good way to sort of break down that limiting belief, and start to see that actually it is possible for me to do this thing. I will give you a little bit of a background of who I am. So if you have no idea who I am, welcome to my new little project. My name is Jade Hassouné. I am a TV film actor, and I've done tons of other things like theater and video games, etc., etc. I will give you my background. So I was born in Lebanon. I now live in Canada. And when I started out my life, we were in Lebanon, and literally it was the war, okay? And the civil war that lasted so many years. And my parents took me, my brother, and they escaped Lebanon to start a new life somewhere else, okay? They weren't sure where they wanted to go. It was either Australia or Canada. And when we left, I was 1 year old when we left Lebanon, and we ended up arriving in Switzerland, where we waited to see which country would take us in as refugees. And it turned out to be Canada. So 3 years later, when I was 4.5, we ended up moving to Canada. Why am I saying this? Because I'm literally a refugee, a war refugee from a different country. And my parents had to start over from scratch, okay? Literal scratch. There was nothing. They started from nothing and took the jobs they could and created this beautiful life for us. So fast forward, when it was time to sort of choose what I wanted to do with my life, very young, because they started asking us this when we were way too young, but I'm glad they did, because they were like, getting us geared up towards creating a life that we desire. But usually, as the child of immigrant parents, usually it's like become a doctor, become a dentist, become a lawyer. If you can relate, let me know, please. I would love to know. And that meant that being an artist as a career was like nowhere near that possibility. And or it was also like, well, that is not something that is doable, right? If you want to have a stable life, stable income, being an artist is not necessarily the way to go, especially being a performing artist, okay? Now, I do come from a family of visual artists. Like my grandfather was a painter, and so it had, in my own life on my mom's side, like the possibility of being an artist was there. And so I connected to that, and I looked around and saw how people were kind of like unhappy with doing something they don't like. And to me, it was clear that I would never become someone who works in an office doing something they don't like, and that I would not pursue my dreams. Anyway, so the arts were always in my life, but turning that into a career was never something that was necessarily, um, um, you know, a possibility to do or something like that. It was just kind of something that you did for fun. And especially being in a new country, the Lebanese mindset is to go to school, study, get your diploma, and have a great career so that you could be respected and that you can support your family, etc. But I had a different plan. So when I was very young, I remember a friend, me and my brother would always make movies and things like that with our parents' video camera. And it wasn't until I was approached by a friend of mine when I was like 9 years old that said, "Hey, we have a community theater um, classes that we're taking. It would be fun if we did them together." And I remember signing up, and anyway, took these classes, loved every second of it. And I remember something happened to me when I got on stage for the first time to do a presentation for the parents. I had what people call, I don't know what they call it, a heart opening, a connection to source. Um, Now I can describe it as like I connected to myself, to my true self. And it was like in a flash, my heart chakra, I guess, opened, and I saw my future. And I knew in that moment that that's what I wanted to do. I saw my future, the possibilities that could come from it. And really, it was the flow state. You hear a lot of like athletes and artists talk about the flow state. When you're playing music, for all the musicians out there, you get into this state where you feel really connected and time sort of warps. And I sort of had it happen to me. And I saw my future in a way in that split second. And I became 1,000,000% obsessed with becoming an actor, and I never let it go. And from that day forward, I remember telling all my teachers, everybody, that that's what I wanted to do. So I was somewhat lucky, quote unquote, to know exactly that I wanted to do that as a very young kid. However, there was literally no one in my life, not my parents, not my family members, not my teachers, who knew how to do that. Actually, I was met with a lot of like, yeah, this is really difficult. It doesn't really happen for people. Um, or people encourage it, but they don't really believe that it's possible to get to that place, to get to the big TV shows, the big movies, what we see as Hollywood nowadays. But the good thing is that I was such a little stubborn kid that I did not take their limiting beliefs, that actually was their own projection of maybe their own dreams, unfulfilled, that they projected onto me. So I was always in the mindset of, that's cool for you guys, but that will not be the experience for me. And I'm so glad that little Jade was so obsessively stubborn and did not stop himself. And so I just went for it. I did everything that I could possibly do, continued my acting classes on the side, and every chance that I got at school to do a play, to be part of an acting group, et cetera, I did it. Okay. And I will tell you right now, after being on Netflix, on the Disney Channel, I'll tell you a bit about myself. So, sorry, we're 14 minutes in and I didn't really tell you who I am, but you probably recognize me from the TV show Shadowhunters, which is one of the biggest Netflix fantasy shows that in the last well, how many years have we been doing this? In the last 8 years, maybe it's been on Netflix, and it's still continuing to generate so much opportunity. Like I was telling you, I was just in Paris signing autographs and being part of these conventions. I've done Comic Cons all over the world. We've traveled with that show to meet the fans in Paris. Well, I'll tell you the countries: France, Belgium, in the UK, in South Korea, in Italy. Where else did we do this? In the States, so many different places. And we've been touring like that for the last 8 years, really. Almost every single year, except for the COVID times, and multiple stops a year. So we literally had tours of meeting the fans. And that's something that when I was younger in high school, practicing my autograph, I knew that I would do one day. And in my teen years, I was obsessed with the TV show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And it inspired me so much. And I was one of those fans. And I wanted to be connected to the actors, but we didn't have that access back in the day. I come from like pre-social media times. And I would have done anything to be able to have a connection like that. And so I'm so grateful that I get to be in a show like that now and connect to fans that are me, really, because I used to do fan art, and now we receive so much fan art and such beautiful things. And so I knew from that time when I had that vision when I was younger that one day I would be signing autographs, meeting fans of a fantasy show specifically, because I really wanted to be in a show like that because I was so obsessed with Buffy. And so anyway, you might also know me from Heartland, which is a TV show that's been going on for like almost 20 years, maybe more than 20 years now, and where I played Prince Ahmed for a couple seasons. You might know me from the Disney movie Cyberbully with Emily Osmond, which was one of my first movies ever, by the way, on the Disney Channel, which used to be called ABC Family, but so many people have seen it. It's called Cyberbully. It talks about bullying online and stuff like that. A lot of people have seen that. You might also know me from Canada's Drag Race, the RuPaul's Drag Race franchise, where I was a guest judge, which was one of my biggest dreams of my career that did manifest for me and just infused me with even more belief that dreams come true, because they do. And now I will be going into this next subject, which is dreams coming true. Okay. My intention for this episode is for you to leave this to know that whatever dream you have, whatever vision you have for your life, it's not random. You have that vision because it is possible. Otherwise, you would not feel the desire for this to happen. And your desire, your dream, is what guides you to then take the steps and to take the actions that lead you to the realization of that dream. And I'll tell you right now, being on Drag Race was top of my list goals to accomplish in my career, and it ended up happening way sooner than I thought. And that was something that really proved to me that dreaming is enough. Dreaming is enough. Just having the dream like quietly within yourself is enough for it to happen. Obviously, there needs to be action steps that you put into that. Every day you've got to wake up and do whatever you can to get closer and closer to your dream. Action is definitely part of manifesting, okay? If you don't know what I'm talking about, totally fine. Google it, ChatGPT it. What is manifestation? What is manifesting? What's so amazing about being here today is that now we really have the science part of that mindset, of manifestation, which is a very, usually like more spiritual aspect. But now we have the neuroscience to back it up that yes, dreams come true. Yes, just thinking positively about yourself in that dream coming true is required. But there's proof, scientific proof as to why that happens and how that happens. And so much of it has to do with how you see yourself, how you think about yourself and your dreams, and the actions that you take that reinforce those thoughts about who you are and where you're going. So I'm going to get into that in this podcast like crazy, because this is how I created my career. This is how I went from being a refugee child who had zero access to the industry to literally being on Netflix and now having the opportunities that I was nowhere near when I was younger. Okay. So let me look at my notes here and have a sip of coffee. I just want you to take that in. Your dreams are possible. Your dreams are your guidance towards attracting the opportunities, meeting the people, etc., etc. And that's the beautiful part, is that you're not doing this by yourself. There's a part of you that you can call so many different names. Your subconscious mind, your higher self, the universe, God, angels, your guides, like whatever you connect with is your co-creative partner in this journey, okay? It's not something you're doing alone. But what you do have to initiate is the intention, the belief. The belief is like getting that intention really concrete in your life. But the intention, the initial desire, the initial deciding that this is what you want is what then attracts the rest. And you reinforce that daily, and everything changes in your life. And we'll get into that later on. Like once you have an agent and you are auditioning for projects, then it needs an even stronger level of belief in yourself. It needs an even stronger level of trusting that these things are possible for you, that you are a working actor. That gets to a whole different level than that you book work, right? Because yes, there is a lot of people who want to do this, and it might seem like there's a lot of quote unquote competition, but in reality, there is no competition, because you're only competing against yourself. Okay. You are becoming the version of yourself who is a successful actor, who is an actor who books work, who is a person who is an actor. And the way that we become that version of ourselves is that we start to connect to that identity. Like that's the first step, is to see yourself as that person. Even if there is zero proof of it, even if you have literally nothing to show for it, this is how it begins. Everything begins with a desire, a dream, a thought, an idea. Okay? Let's see what I've got here. Yes. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, what age you are, you can make this happen. And like I was saying before, you are not alone. You will get help. And sometimes that help seems completely magical, completely like out of the blue, as if there is an intelligent force helping you achieve your dream. And there is, I'll tell you right now, there is a force, there is an intelligence, there is something with you every single day helping you achieve your dreams. And I know this 1,000,000%. Okay. And we'll get into it today, but I can promise you're not alone. All you got to do is decide right now, take a moment right now while I take a sip of coffee, and decide and declare that this is who you are. This is what is there for you. And this is what you will be receiving. You are a professional actor. We got it? You took a moment, you closed your eyes, you took a breath, you decided, you declared. Good. So stick with me, because in all of these episodes, I will be giving you everything I got. Everything I got. I literally bring everything that I did, everything that I used, and what I use to this day to continue to manifest my opportunities and to rise and rise and rise. Okay? Anything is possible. You're not alone in this. I mean, I'm here for you already, but you've also got a part of yourself that knows exactly what to do, exactly where to go. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world. You might be listening to me from across the world in a place that you might think has no opportunities, but I promise you there is a way for you to get there, and you have got to start where you are. Okay, that's going to be my main action step here is you have got to start where you are. Literally where you are now, today. Okay, don't wait for you to be in the perfect position. Don't wait for you to have access or to have the opportunity. You start where you are. You start with what you've got, and that's how you get there. I did not do anything different than what I'm doing today. So when I started when I was 9 years old in my small little acting classes in my neighborhood in the suburbs of Montreal is the same thing I'm doing now. And now I'm acting in multi-million-dollar projects, appearing on Netflix and getting all these crazy, amazing opportunities. And I'm still progressing because I've not achieved the exact place where I want to be, but I'm not doing anything different. I'm still being me, the little kid, pretending, loving what he does, playing, and it's still the same. So whatever you're starting today is what you will continue to do once you actually are there and that other people will see it. And here is something else I want to say. Other people will not believe in your dream until they see evidence of it around them. What you have got to do is to believe it so much for such a sustained period of time. I don't want to say long because it could happen real fast, but you've got to sustain it. You've got to continue to believe it. And then other people will start to see it. And then other people will start to believe it. So right now, we're not including anyone else's thoughts, anyone else's beliefs, anyone else's opinions. We are just keeping it to ourselves. And if it helps, you don't have to talk to other people. Keep it for yourself. Know who you are within yourself. Okay. When it comes to like RuPaul's Drag Race, like I did tell people about this dream, but at that point I had enough evidence of it in my life that people were like supportive of it. Like, yeah, it's going to happen for you one day. Yeah, absolutely. And I talked about it nonstop for 5 years. Like one day I'm going to be a guest judge on Drag Race. One day I'm going to be a guest judge on Drag Race. And it literally manifested. So you can talk to other people, but the thing is, other people can incept their doubts of what is and what isn't possible into your own mind. And if your belief isn't solid, it might affect what you believe, or they might sort of talk you out of it. Okay, so keep it to yourself, believe in yourself, try to see who is the version of yourself that is receiving their dream. What are they doing every day? How do they feel about their dreams coming true? That's something you can try out. So I'm getting to half an hour and I think I'm going to leave it there. I kind of went off with my heart here is the best way that I can describe how I did this episode. And, you know, I have somewhat of an outline laid out, but I'd like to just like kind of riff off, and I probably forgot a lot of things, but we're going to have so many episodes here and many hours of audio and video to get into that. I want to thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy that you found me, and let's make this happen for yourself. I will guide you step by step into how to become an actor at the start, like what you need to do and the steps that you need to take for it to become a reality. And it's not that complicated, honestly. Really what you got to do is find an agent, like an acting agent, who will submit you for auditions. And from there you start to get work. Like that is it, truly. It's not even that difficult. But being consistent, knowing you can do it, and in the face of challenges, like continue to do this. That is the challenge. Okay. So I want to thank you so much for joining me on my very first episode of How to Become a Professional Actor with Jade Hassouné. And if you have any questions, I will put the email that you can contact me in the show notes. And I will see you in the next episode. Hey, before you go, do you want to receive a free ebook called How to Become a Professional Actor, 5 Steps to Living the Life of Your Dreams, where I walk you step by step to getting started today? It is infused with so much inspiration. I've got amazing feedback from this book, and I cry every time I read it. I wrote it with such inspiration, and all you got to do is give me a review on this podcast. It'll help so much. And screenshot the review and email me at theothersideofyourdreamlife@gmail.com. And I will send you the free ebook so that you can get started today and waste 0 time and get your acting career going or lifted to a whole new level. All right. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next episode.